What's your most embarrassing sex story? My girlfriend and I went on a picnic by canoe out to a island where there would have been no one around for at least a few kilometers. Long story short, she starts giving me a blowjob, which went on for a few minutes until I start to hear a strange noise getting louder. All of a sudden a search and rescue helicopter flies over the tree line and comes to a stop above us. It stayed there for a few seconds before turning around and flying back in the direction it came from. My girlfriend and I suffered through a 9-month long distance relationship, and one time after a long travel day to see her, I was going down on her. Well, jet lag hit me pretty hard and I fell asleep, face down in between her legs. Once dated a chef. One night when he made dinner he went way too heavy on the cayenne pepper to season the chicken with his bare hands. If you see where this is going, later things get steamy, and within 2 seconds of him fingering me, I jump up screaming in pain as it feels like someone opened up the gates of hell in my vag. I spent the next hour hovering over the bidet naked while flushing out my area with milk, and we are laughing about it until his roommate decides to open the bathroom door without knocking and just stares at us. Was home for summer from college. My neighbor and I had been secretly hooking up for a little bit, and she had been over a few days before when my parents were gone. Came home one day and my mom was staring daggers at me. She said, "You have a mess to clean up," because I'm not doing it. I had no clue what she was talking about. Then she said to go look under the dining room table. Underneath it was a used condom that I had thrown into the bathroom trash can wrapped in toilet paper. My dog thought it would be cool to bring it downstairs and chew on it under the table. Was going really hard, pushed a little bit too hard, and farted right as I came. A girlfriend might have laughed it off. My Tinder date did not. Drunk at a house party, blowing my high school boyfriend in his very messy room. Gag reflex starts kicking in pretty hard. I've got a bunch of semen in my mouth, the room is dark, and I'm stumbling over junk on the floor when I lose balance, struggling not to hurl after swimming 6 Keystone Lights from my throat going into overload. I had my hands over my mouth. I didn't catch myself before impact, smacked the bridge of my nose into a dresser drawer knob, bloody it, and effectively shoot a mix of blood and semen out of my face, out of some weird place inside me. I usually laugh when I get hurt in some dumb way, like I'm my own personal episode of Jackass, but it's in first person. Boyfriend hit the lights and sees me giggling on the floor using my t-shirt to wipe my face off. He was not laughing in the slightest, or the time I accidentally tangled my leg in a sheet, pulled to free myself, and kicked a guy square in the nards. That was pretty bad. Strawberry milkshake. Was going hard on her when I heard the bug out guy spray my windows. I thought the curtains were closed, so I kept going at it. They weren't. She threw up on my dick twice because she decided to ignore her gag reflex. We're married now. Twice as in on 2 different occasions, not in one sitting. With an ex-girlfriend of mine a few years back, whenever we wanted to get down to business we usually put something on Netflix in the background. That day we put on Planet Earth. Anyways, right when we were really getting going, we heard an ungodly noise coming from the TV, and we proceeded to watch David Attenborough narrate the mating process of Bactrian camels, which involved slapping their own asses with their tails. We burst into laughter and couldn't continue. Tried to pick a girl up and lay her down on a bed. Failed miserably. It was dark. We were slightly drunk. Slammed her head onto bedside table and knocked her out. 15 years later, she still sends an occasional selfie wearing a helmet. We were staying with my boyfriend's family for Christmas. It was my first time meeting them. The second night of our stay, I sneaked out of my boyfriend's room with only his big hoodie on after sexy times to pee. His mother was standing behind the toilet door when I came out and said, "You know, these walls are very thin. Anyway, you want something to eat?" "Yeah, whip me up a couple of flapjacks, Margaret." She is on top. Then I get the most painful leg cramp in my hamstrings so much I yelled in pain. She started panicking as she thought she broke my penis. Lost balance taking off skinny jeans. Foot wouldn't come out in time and smashed a mirror with my face. At least something got to smash that night. Tinder date got off onto my floor of my apartment building, but was fucking wasted and forgot which apartment was mine. So she started yelling my name as loud as she could. I opened my door to see all my neighbors standing in their doorway staring at her. She had a 6-pack of wine coolers in one hand and her heels in another. I told her to get in my apartment quickly and started apologizing to everyone else. Most just rolled their eyes and shut their doors, but the dude across the hall started clapping. Thanks 8F. MMF threesome. We're all on her bed and she's on top of him going at it reverse cowgirl. I stand up on the bed for her to blow me, and as I'm standing up they both yell my name and the ceiling fan. Before I could react, whap, whap, whap. On my forehead that left a good sized slice, although nothing that required stitches. Had a large family event the next day that required some creative explanation for the gauze pad taped to my noggin. When my wife and I were teenagers we were about to have sex on her bed. Teenage boy hormones in full force. Pants around my ankles. Standing on the bed and I take a step back and I slip. My foot goes through the gap between her mattress and her bed frame and I fall backwards. My hand hits her ceiling fan. My back slides down her dresser, and my head hits her floor. I'm laying on the floor in a daze figuring out what happened, and she's just on her bed laughing at me. To this day she will have moments where she starts dying laughing just thinking about it. My husband and I were going at it doggy style, and things were going very well. I started to have an orgasm, and due to the angle and the pressure, the world's longest fart slipped out. So I start to laugh. So I'm coming, laughing and farting all at the same time. My hubby took it like a champ and laughed with me until I calmed down. Preparing for anal with an ex-boyfriend. I had done it many times successfully in the past and felt pretty confident about it. He lifted up my legs and asked, "Ready?" I said, "Ready as I'll ever be," and then let out the biggest, longest fart in world history. The farting wouldn't have been so bad if it weren't for my verbal response just moments before my sphincter decided to start singing. From then on, anytime I said ready in casual conversations like getting in the car, he would always say, "Ready as I'll ever be." Was having sex with my boyfriend. He flipped me over so we could do it doggy style. All going well. Suddenly I feel a lukewarm liquid splashing on my back. After a few seconds of splashing I stop, and I'm like, WTF is going on back there? I turn around to find my boyfriend sipping a mug of tea. He was trying to drink it while we were fucking. It was going cold he said. He's never lived that one down. Can you tell we are British? My boyfriend and I had only been together for a few weeks at this point. We were having sexy times at my house. Cause we had a few hours before my younger brother got home from school. It was loud and fun when I saw a shadow pass my window. My room was next to the front door, so I saw when people came to the door. Brother had come home 2 hours early because it was a half day. He shouts hi and starts down the stairs to make sure I was home. I hop off of boyfriend and dive under the blankets and yell, "Don't come in." He pauses at the door. Here's my boyfriend laughing his ass off and throws the door open. Once he realized what was going on, he decided to make me super embarrassed. If you've ever seen the scene from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will catches his mom in bed with a guy mama NOOO, that's what brother did, and sat on my bed, effectively holding me hostage. Talking to my boyfriend like I wasn't naked and tomato-faced. We still joke about it, and I don't think I'll ever live it down. I was having sex with my ex-boyfriend for the second time while on vacation. I got super nauseous during it because we were drinking a ton and I have a sensitive stomach. Ended up naked, on all fours, throwing up all over the floor with him trying to comfort me. To make it worse, he freaked out and went, "Are you pregnant?" because movies always show the girl throwing up after sex when she's pregnant. Sounds like a nice fellow, but not especially bright. My front teeth are crowns from a skateboarding accident when I was a kid. In the military I knocked one out and spent a month using denture glue to hold it in place until my dentist appointment. Under the crown was a small bit of tooth, the crown attached to like a post. During that time I had also just started a romantic relationship with my now wife and had not mentioned my hillbilly tooth. During an Australian encounter, my tooth fell out and I was too preoccupied to notice. When I returned from down under and we were kissing, she noticed. She pulled my head back to see what was up and did a full-on double take at my mouth. I realized what happened and started trying to explain when she reached down, fumbled around at her bits, pulled out my tooth that had been stuck to one of her labia, and held it out to me quizzically. I almost died, but she still married me a few years later. One night my boyfriend and I were at a bar and drinking a lot, and we thought it would be a good idea to go to him Camaro to fuck. This was in the late 90s or early 2000s, and I was wearing one of those long skirts with really high slits on both sides. So basically even if you thought the skirt was scrunched up, it really was just the front or back part. So we finish up and go back inside. This was a bar and not a club, so it was fairly lit. I almost immediately run into a group of girls I went to high school with. We were not really friends, so I assumed the conversation was strained and awkward because of the hollow catching up. Shortly after I escaped and went to the bathroom, I basically had smeared cum all over my skirt. It was a combo of mine and his. On the front panel of skirt, like literally on the bottom, on the top. From being bunched up it was all over the inside of the back. It was everywhere. I was so embarrassed